And I wish if I could have voted more one time. For him and my daughter, for my husband and for my mother. Right?
It's been a long time coming, but change has to come.
Standpipe. Standpipe.
We are the champions of change. Forward, forever, one love. Power to the people, I say. Power to the people, I say. Power, one love, comrade.
Who want back to bus them? Yes. The bus system poor. Markgolding, we don't know what anybody do the bus them. You see before them come, we have a check, we have about 7 to 8, 78. We have about 477. We have about 361. We have about 266. We have about 3 or 468. No bus. You know bus stop to the foot them tired. Them claim say bus fare of $100. Okay, we hear $50 for the. Oh, the bus there. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Bus fare of $100. We sit up to 3-4 hours. That don't make no sense, sir. Me foot them tired and my daughter she stressed out and she just sick. And the taxi them that kill me. When the Korean Jew at $250. When it fall at $300 after 3. And it
School fee, right now it's still a Jamal out there, but it turned out. I still go in there. Right now I'm not paying any school fee again because it is free. And one thing the teacher said to us, so we can invite everybody and tell them so they must come to Bethel Baptist in Tree. You know, thank you Mr. Golding and thank you all of you guys. And sir, I want you to win right now.
It's been a long time coming, but change has to come. Comrade Senator Sophia Fraser-Binns, wonderful to have you here as our moderator, Sophie. Thank you so much for being with us. I want to big up the General Secretary of the party. When the history is written of this period of the party's life, his name will ring loud and clear because he has been a fearless warrior for the party. He has taken it to them in a way that no other has, and he has been a loyal General Secretary to me. Hard taskmaster, you know, put a few gray hairs in my head and so on, but I appreciate the effort he has made, and it's because of his commitment coming out of Bamboo in rural St. Anne. You know, I'm a medical doctor, he has a law degree, and he has become a transformational General Secretary who is leading the party to victory in the next general elections under my presidency, but with him as the general. I want to big up your candidate, Eastern St. Andrew. You have a leader here in Patricia Duncan Sutherland. She comes out of the heart of the PNP tradition. Her father was a famous General Secretary, D.K. Duncan. He was a General Secretary during the period of the party's life when the party was perhaps most transformational, which was in the 1970s under Michael Joshua Man. And she comes out of that tradition. Her mother, Joan Duncan, brought a democratic approach to financial services. She was the founder of Jamaica Money Market Brokers, which has always done business in a way which makes it accessible to ordinary Jamaicans. And with them, love is at the center of what they do. So you have a lady here who has come out of a combination of political activism and courage, financial acumen, and a love for the people. You couldn't have a better mix than that. And I call her Trisha. Some people call her, I know her as Trisha. She understands that the journey is as important or perhaps more important than the destination. How you get to where you're going, the approach you take is what will ensure that you get there. And that is why she believes in engaging the people that she's seeking to represent in an authentic way, in a real way, in a respectful way, because she wants everyone to feel part of the process, everyone to feel valued, everyone to feel that they have a say in whatever plans she has to roll out when she's MP. They will be your plans worked out with her. And in a sense, she is carrying that message and that approach more than anyone else in the politics right now. I have to big her up for it. This is the fifth, thank you. The fifth of these engagements that, and I've been to most of them, if not all. And I must tell you, in each one we get a lot of quality in the dialogue, in the ideas, and I think people leave feeling, yeah, the PNP is a different kind of movement. It's a movement where our members and our supporters, our activists, play a real role, not just on election day, in campaigning, but also in strategizing and thinking about what we want to do for Jamaica when we form government. So big up Comrade Patricia Duncan Sutherland. And comrades, as has been said already by the General Secretary, but I want to add my voice as party leader to that. This constituency is a critical constituency for us. If we're going to form government, and when we form government, we have to have Eastern St. Andrew in Parliament represented by Patricia. And it means we all have to play our part to make that happen. We have to be very, very serious about it, very committed, and we have to do the work on the ground and bring out everybody. PNP people, undecided voters, disaffected laborites, we're on the all. As long as I'm going to put the X beside the head, beside her name, we want their vote. Now, comrades, we have spent a lot of time in opposition doing two things. First of all, we've been re-engaging with the people, getting the party leader known to Jamaicans. Because I came into the representation of politics relatively late in my life. 2017 was when I first became an MP. I was a senator for 10 years before that, but the Senate is a very different environment. You're not elected, you don't represent anybody. You're just appointed to it by your party through the leader of the opposition or the Prime Minister of the day. Since 2017, I've been the MP for South St. Andrew. Now, in that time, as leader since 2020, I have had to ensure that Jamaicans know who markgolding is, and that's an ongoing process. You know, and I've done it through going on the ground, meeting people all over the place, but also through engagements through social media and through the blogs and the vlogs, and through engagements like this, and through what I do in Parliament. And as Gen Sec has said, for the last 2 years, every national poll, every independent, professionally done poll has shown the PNP in the lead. So we are in a good position as we go in. The other aspect, comrades, the other aspects of what we've been focusing on is to unify the party. Because we know that we have been through several leadership contests over the years. Each one of them creates a little turbulence, a little bumps in the road that we have to navigate. And so we have reached out, I have reached out to all of my comrades, especially those who may have didn't support me or whatever, and said, this don't matter, that's done, the decision is made, a PNP we are saying now. And I'm the leader, support the thing and make win the election. And I must say to all of my colleagues how grateful I am that they have reciprocated, they have approached it in the same way, and we're all good and we're pulling together. And the effect of it is very powerful because we have so much talent to draw on, people with different skills, different types of brilliance, and that is how we're making a difference. And the other thing we've been doing is thinking about, through dialogue, consultation, what is it that we need to do for the people of Jamaica when we form government? How do we make sure that the next PNP government will be transformational, will take Jamaica to a better place? How can we champion change? And that is why we've been focusing on things that can make a real difference in the lives of the people, especially those who need the help of an activist government to make their lives better. Because that is how Jamaica will be a stronger country. And when we do the right things and people are more comfortable, they have a more opportunity, they're able to pursue their dreams, it is going to mean we're going to have a more productive economy, we're going to have better trained people, we'll be able to attract investment in jobs and in industries that create jobs that are better paying, and we will become a wealthier country. And that is a cycle, that is a circle, that is a virtuous circle of progress that we want to ensure we bring to Jamaica when we're next in government. So, you've heard some of the things that we plan to do in relation to education. The importance of ensuring that every child who needs it gets the support of at least one nutritious meal a day at school. And that's just the start, because we know as the economy improves and we have more resources, we will expand that to include breakfast as well. You've heard about the first in family concept. What we're saying is any youth who can make it to university and matriculates and is accepted, if they are the first person in their household to have ever gone to university, we will pay for their tuition for the entire time in university. We'll give them a scholarship. And this is important because the truth of the matter is, those who already have a child or a parent who's gone to university typically are in a much better position financially to manage to send more. But those who have never had that opportunity, we are going to give them that opportunity, because we know that education is the antidote to poverty. We have a number of other things we've discussed about the Student Loan Bureau and all that. I'm not going to get into, we have so much ideas and so much things we plan to do. But I want to talk a little bit more about housing. There is a tremendous shortage of affordable housing in Jamaica. We have had a construction boom under the labor rights, largely driven by two things. Interest rates were low because inflation, when we left office in 2016, inflation was extremely low. Interest rates could come down, and as a result, developers could borrow money to build developments. And secondly, the JLP reduced the transfer tax and stamp duty on transfers of real estate, and that also fueled a construction boom. But the houses that were built weren't built for people, ordinary Jamaican people. They're out of range of ordinary Jamaican people. You know, these are houses for people who have money. And typically, a lot of them are just buying these houses as an investment, not because they don't have nowhere to live. And so, we have never approached housing policy in that way. We have always approached housing policy as an empowerment to give our people shelter who don't otherwise have it. So that is why we built out Portmore. That's why we did Operation Pride and give informal settlements the opportunity to have proper infrastructure, get titles to their land, and they can build their castles. And there are several successful schemes that have been created because of the work of the PNP. And we're going to finish the ones that we left unfinished. We're going to finish them. So we have a plan to build 50,000 affordable houses in our first term of office. It's a very challenging target. Yeah. But sometimes you have to set a challenging target for yourself in order to reach a certain heights, right? And we have a plan as to how we're going to do that. We're identifying the lands that we're going to make available to the NHT to do that, and we're going to achieve it with the benefit of when we sell the houses, we're not going to include in the price the value of the land. So that when you buy a house from under our watch through the NHT under this program, the price will be less, because we're not going to charge them, the buyers, for the land component of the price. That's a very important difference. And we also want to facilitate young people. A lot of young people are struggling to buy their first home because they can't afford a deposit. And we have said, first of all, we're going to stop taking $11.4 billion every year out of the NHT, which this government has done for the last 9 years. Even though we're out of any IMF program, we don't have those heavy fiscal targets like we had when we had to implement that. But we were doing it for 4 years. They have now extended it for another 8 years since they've been in power. And we're saying no, that is depleting the resources of the NHT. And that means the NHT can't pursue its mandate, the mandate that was established for it from its start when Michael Manley built that institution, which is to provide housing for people, the workers of this country and others who need it. So we're going to stop taking that $11.4 billion. It means the NHT will have more resources. And we're taking $1 billion to establish a fund. We call it the Young People's Deposit Grant Fund. A young person up to 35 years old, as long as they are a contributor to the NHT for just 2 years or more, will get a grant of $500,000 from the NHT towards their first house. And that will enable them to get onto the housing ladder. We also have two very innovative ideas, which we call rent to own. And the innovation is in the concept because right now we have people renting a house for a long time, years, thank you, and they can't afford to pay down on a house because their income is at a level where after them pay them rent and them pay them food and little light bill and whatever, them don't have no money to save anything. And what we're saying is, all right, with these affordable houses now, if you can afford to pay the rent, which is equal to what the mortgage payment would be, you can go in as a tenant at the NHT and a portion of your rent will go into an account in the NHT for your deposit. And when that bill up to the level of the deposit, boom, it's switching to the mortgage and you become an owner, and then from then on you're paying mortgage. And there's another aspect to it too with this rent to own. You have a lot of people who are hustle to survive. All kind of hustling. Some are do little selling, some in the music business, some are do round robin, some are do other forms of entertainment, whatever it is. Them don't have formal employment. They can't produce a pay slip to show what they're earning, and they can't get a mortgage because they can't show their income. And we are saying for those people now, we will allow them to go into possession for a period of time as a tenant, and once they are paying their rent, which is equal to the mortgage amount would be, once they show that they can make those payments for a reasonable period, we're thinking of even 6 months, that will mean they no longer have to prove income. They'd have already proved that their capacity to pay, and they can then draw down their mortgage and become a owner. See, these are just some of the things that we've been thinking about. We've costed them out. We know how we're going to pay for them, and we're going to make a big difference to Jamaica when it comes. And they said when we roll out that housing program, affordable housing, it is going to help to drive economic growth, which is going to help to pay for the same things that we're doing. So the thing is about creating a virtuous circle of growth, revenue generation, investment in the people, and that will mean greater wealth for all Jamaicans. In the farming sector, well, the GenSec is anchoring agriculture and rural development for us. We are going to establish, right now, we're importing a lot of food into this country. It went up, but I think it's 70%. From about, where was it? $834 million to $1.4 billion, which was $834 when we left office. 834 million US of imports is a 1.4 billion. That is why when they brought the law to Parliament on Tuesday to remove the GCT on fresh food and vegetables and meats to come into this country, which is from other markets where those things are subsidized, which would have a negative impact on our producers here. We said, what are you dealing with? How you can, just bring this come and don't explain how is this going to affect our farmers? How is this going to affect our economy? And they had to wheel and come again. So we say, well, we will take a portion of the tax that is paid at the wharf on these imported foods, and we're going to establish a fund, about $2.5 billion, in the first year. And that is going to support farming, support production. Right now, our small farmers need a break. Many of them can't, they don't have proper irrigation. They have to buy water to water them field. You know, they don't have access to credit because they don't have the necessaries to go and get a loan even from the PC banks, because the requirements of those have been tightened up on them. So they're not producing at the level that they could. And then we have a lot of what we call post-harvest losses because there's no storage for things. And if you have a strong production, you have excess and take a while to let it off, a lot of it will spoil because, I mean, it's what level of 30%? 30% of Jamaica's agricultural produce is spoiled. So we have to deal with that by having proper storage facilities to ensure that the people can sell not just 70% of what they produce, but as close to 100% of what they produce. And can you imagine what that is going to do for rural incomes in this country in terms of the standard of living, the quality of life that our farming communities will be able to enjoy? So people, we are approaching this in the spirit of Michael Joshua Manley, and I am dedicating the next term of the PNP to his memory, because he brought a consciousness of how to uplift our people and liberate them from colonialism, from poverty, from underdevelopment, from a lack of self-esteem, all of these things. That's why we're going to be teaching the philosophy of Marcus Mosiah Garvey in schools, because our children have to love themselves and love each other and respect themselves and their history and know their potential greatness, which is in each of them, because we want to have a Jamaica where we don't just shine in some areas, but we shine in all areas, because we are a great people and we can do it. Comrades, that is why this election matters. That is why I'm saying to you, go out there in a very serious and dedicated way. Do the work that we have to do. Complete your PNP list. Know who our voters are, so that on election day we'll go for them, we'll put the ballots in the box, and this lady, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, becomes your next MP. One more comrade. Power to the people. Power.
Comrades, our party leader and our next Prime Minister, Comrade Mark Golding. I'm here to comrade leader. I don't know if you're here. When come here. Give that to her and come here. Put that, yeah, come here. You see this comrade? This big strong man. When you started talking about the housing policy of our noble party, he said me get goosebumps. Look at this man. This man.
Listen, nice to meet you. So I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm very impressed. I'm gonna tell you why. So you hit 3 nails on the head that I'm struggling with every night. You see the house where you said the house them we don't want to build now for the richer people, them you have to buy for invest. That they put my brain every day, and that's reality. Because I can afford to buy the house, but I can't afford the mortgage. So we have to buy it as investment properties. You get to me, I say, so you touch a lot of points, and I've been asking Ms. Duncan to meet you in person, and I'm very impressed. I'm dying for you to run the country the right way.
I know you're ready, comrade. 100,000 a month. I know we're ready too. Yes, we're ready. We're ready. But comrades, as we prepare for that day, when we will have another PNP MP, you have heard comrades from our GenSep, our MP candidate, and our party leader. And I want to hear from you. Comments, questions, let me hear from you. You can tell us who you're addressing the question to. I'm going to take 4 questions at a time, and then we will answer, and then we take another set of 4. So, comrade, before we take the questions, I want to apologize for Comrade Senator Lambert Brown, who is a child of Standpipe and should have been here, but he's caught in an engagement. And he sends his apologies. So comrades, I'm just going to ask you to give us a minute as we listen to what Comrade Brown has to say.
Dear comrades of Eastern St. Andrew, comrades from the Standpipe era, this is Lambert Brown, a son of the side. I was scheduled to come to the meeting this afternoon to bring greetings and to endorse my friend, Comrade Patricia Duncan Sutherland. Unfortunately, I am at a meeting with the trade unions and the Minister of Finance at EOS level negotiating for increased increment and benefit for the workers in the public sector, be they teachers, nurses, doctors, watchmen, civil servants. So I apologize for not being there with you, or my comrades, my friends. Some of you who have played football and cricket with, run up and down in the lanes of Standpipe. I urge you to support Pat, Comrade Pat. Give her full support as we work to make markgolding the next Prime Minister of Jamaica. And one day I will come and walk amongst you, because the PNP need to win this, so Standpipe and our joining communities can be better off, can be improved. I love you, my comrades. Onward to victory. We say PNP all the time.
So that was Comrade Brown sending his apologies. So we have a line. This comrade is in front. No, we have a line. So I'm going to ask you to allow ladies before gentlemen. So we're going to allow the ladies to speak and then you, comrade.
To talk about is
they're on the way.
We're going to get to I am a returning resident 2 times. So everybody will say, why you love foreign? No, I don't love foreign. I like the fact that the crime rate in Jamaica is just out of control. Now everybody say what the government can do. You can impose some sanction, because I can guarantee you, if somebody in Jamaica punches one of andrewholness son or daughter, anybody in the face, he's gonna find him in less than 3.
Yeah.
But someone punched my kid in the face, he's hard to find. So we realize the Jamaica I only serve the politician. It doesn't serve we as citizens. You know what I'm saying? So they know what they can do. Another thing is, you see this oil thing here? We know oil is here. I mean, I don't know about them. I know because the news is not being carried by Jamaica. It's carried by the British. It's carried. These other medias are not going to tell lies about something like that. So you know the importance of this election. This is the most important election. And they know the importance. You know why? Because they know when you come in, there's a lot of things cover up. They can't cover up in so much. So they need to win this so they can have more time to cover up everything they've been doing. So you know the importance. They're afraid of you. So you know the importance. As I tell Ms. Duncan, so we need to do the thing the right thing, because we can't afford to lose this. You know, so they are doing everything in their powers because they know that they're afraid of you, and I like how you attack everything.
Yeah.
So when they ask about the corruption, that's true, because when they go around on both sides, everybody say, well, you know, no matter which party you vote for, corruption is there. So you can make a change. Sometimes I know, say, most of these MPs that's running are your friend, them kids growing up, but you have to make an example out of one, so it set a precedent. You get what I'm saying? Because one thing, you know, I can only relate back to America. If a politician step out of line, you notice whether the money wise or whatever, he's sitting in jail. You see that, so sometimes you have to make an example out of one. You get what I'm saying? Another thing, I mean, how can we get a better water dam? Why we can't get a better hospital structure? Like KPH is not it. I have a lot of people that's from overseas who come to my event. My father had a thing last year at my event, and nobody believe in the medical system. Because when I look at KPH, it's just, you know what I'm saying? So if you and I know, even the young kid in Burkina Faso, Abraham Toure, I'm impressed by him. So we need to take a page out of a book like that. Because we need Jamaica need a better water structure, and we need especially Kingston, we need a better hospital system. I don't believe in the hospital system, honestly. That's my biggest fear. Because when they go in there, just see death all over it, because it's so atrocious. So I mean, no matter what them do, we can do better as a country. We pay the highest tax. Jamaica must have won 17%. So you're not giving us back in tax return. Well, give us back in some structure. We can do better on that. And another thing, the last thing I want to say is, there's a lot of people in my situation. A lot of people ask, how you do it? A lot of kids who come back home. I think the country doesn't pay attention to with the mass deportation that's going on, the people that will get deported. You know, it's like them don't stand a chance. There's no rehabilitation system for them. There's nothing. So them definitely give up another system. Because most of them become go find them community, and then most of them just mad out because you know they don't know what to do. There's nothing for them. I remember at the end of the day, sometimes the other party get hold of them, take the vote, push them back out, so them become the numbers that build up the other party. So we have to figure out a structure for them for no say. These votes are important too because they are back home. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to talk to about nothing. They just lost the whole country. So most of them just get caught up by people to send them to go do dirty work, crime or whatever. Yes, some little, but I know you have a lot by your table. I mean, trust me, I watch and I know. So, you know, when you win, do what you can do, but just pay attention to these little things. Because these are some easy kills. You get what I say? So a lot of people like come home and they are confused. They're like, them try to question me. I mean, like I said, I have a lot of friends in the States who have like organization. One of them is Last Foundation. I'm trying to do some with the old people and they're asking me. So people want to do stuff, but them just don't believe in the Jamaican system because there's so much corruption upon our language. You know, but like I said, I wish you luck. I know you definitely will win.
Good night. Well, me hear everybody talk. I mean, listen. But me not touch one topic about me like from the Labour Party coming it about me. But me I watch and I observe. We want back to bus them. Yes. The bus system poor. Markgolding. Me don't know what the Labour do the bus them. You see before them come. We have a check, we have about 78. We have about 477. We have about 361. We have about 266. We have about 3 or 468. No bus. You know bus stop to the foot them tired. Them claim say bus fare of $100. Okay, we hear $50 for the bus there. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Bus fare $100. We sit up 3-4 hours. That don't make no sense, sir. Me foot them tired and my daughter she stressed out and she just sit. And the taxi them that kill me. When the Korean Jew at $250. When it fall at $300. Half a tree. And if you not have it, you turn up there till much o'clock. If you have a conscience husband or a conscience, feel like a money off on them. Because you turn up about someone we can't come home. Them need, sir. We need a bus. Wife will wipe up on them again and come vote for you. More you get out them and there. We want back with us. We want back with we love bus. We want the bus run on time. We can't up with them 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7:30. We have to turn up too long, sir. We're tired of them. Oh, to them talk about Portmore. Them can't get Portmore. Portmore are done this already. So them take their mind off of Portmore. So here what? Miss Patricia, darling, I am Prince Joseph's wife. You come in my yard and you meet me. Me say, if me say go over me and they see what a boy them, me say if them not come up, me I bring one belt. Cause me say me want you give it back with bus them. That way people them can go to school on time. Yeah, look like say a pay labor right one taxi or something. Cause them the taxi them enough. And what? No, Proverbs. Me ignorant for them nasty green people about them are green. Them green like green. Alright, have a good night.
So,
have a question too. Peter Phillips.
Patricia, Damien, my apologies. Markgolding, glad to see you in our community. I have a question and then I have an issue, right? My question is, when you become Prime Minister of Jamaica, because ever since I've been growing up, I've heard about corruption, government corruption. What are your plans to alleviate some of those issues where once you mention government, them say them corrupt? What can PNP do to change? What are your plans to change any of that? Another thing is, I'm big on sports. I was born in Standpipe, I grew up here. Standpipe? Standpipe? Okay. I have a sport. What about Sports Day? You want back the Sports Day? This Sports Day unites the entire community. We don't talk PNP, we don't talk GLP. And I think it was a good thing for the community. But I just a small business and it costs a lot to finance something like that. I'm not getting the support from our MP. And I have a netball program which we start from about 12 years old up. We are doing well in the Netball Association. Ligan United, if you talk about Ligan and you talk about IB, you talk about skills, we have one of the best coaches in Jamaica. And that's costing me like 60,000 per month to pay the coach. And sometimes business is good, sometimes it's not so good. So I've struggled keeping that up, but I try my best. I will do the fundraising and stuff like that. If I can get the support, what about the constituency development fund and stuff like that? Can that assist in programs like this? Well, I'm not getting the support, right? And I would like to continue. This has been going on from 2007. And I just think that if we unite and come together, more of these young ladies will have something to look forward to. You understand me? So I don't know when the PNP comes into power, we will have that support. Alright, thank you so much.
Comrade leader, comrade Jack, the boss. You can't stop him, you know. You afraid fear. To my comrade leader. You know my comrade leader before him went to politics now. And my mother worked with Professor Golding. 39 years I'm on around. My husband, seen that time. Alright. Walk Valley Experimental School, 36 years. The two of them depart now. I wish I could have voted more one time. For him and my daughter, for my husband and for my mother. Right? So I know common leader longer, but never can't tell me not about common leader. Come every day for them, come can't tell him about him. And yes, I'm in there, and yes, I'm not here. He not come from where I come here, so. And even if I'm British, you see the budget went on, an excellent budget. You don't listen to andrewholness. You don't know what he say. You don't know what he say. So if you mean by British, you should assume yourself who are British come and have excellent budget in your country. So you want to know, 2 things I have to say to the common leader. This is somewhere in Eastern St. Andrew. We are live members and we work with the party for years in the constituency. Like myself, we are live member of the constituency, more than the division and the women's movement. But guess what? You see when conference, we push at the back. We know that front we can't sit down. We need the party to do something for it. When we got conference, we don't want to go back. Come in, come short. The kids in the yard. I want you to lead that talk. I don't want when they come and nobody tell me, say, you know, say, come in here. I don't want you to come in here, say. Then we can't tell them. Right? Right? the live members them from the party and the live members them in the council, because a lot of way. From 72, me I'm up in politics still, and I'm 70 now. I'm still in it. Right? My grandfather was there work with Norman Washington Monday. So me couldn't be a leader, right? I have to be a PNP. The next thing is the elders them. Me no see nobody keep no little thing for them. When Christmas time, you know see nobody keep a little elder treats. Nah, nothing. I bring out the elder. We not our young people know. Elder, a stranger from foreigner to come and keep a elder party for the elders then. Put little thing and little thing. Amen. You know see nobody that come in know where the MP there for. Because I never know where she says. They can't believe so an MP. We have so much things there and him can't talk in a parliament. You know see, you know what she say in a parliament? You don't know what she say in a parliament? I say you have so much things behind him. I say you're Minister of Finance. You come and close budget. I hear you close the budget with the PNP, and the PNP make disturbance about Boabas. Who will save money? People who get 16,000 can save money to buy Boabas. We should never buy one. You see? So I got one to look after. And I say, if you look at, if I have 1 month, once a month, I'll be like a package for the elders. Christmas and so. We need a community center. Can you say this? We could have a community center. We are do. And things put nice for the people now, the young people can do things. We can't do it die and die, you know. Lot of things we can do. You need a community center in a standpoint. Alright.
Okay, comrades, I'm going to just pause for a little bit. I'm going to allow comrades at the head table to just...
Mr. Holness, he was talking about how it was a pleasure to see the housing development on Bernard Lodge Estate. Now, being that me was a sugar man, and I heard the man talk about that, there was some argument that Wertipa wanted Bernard Lodge Estate to plant sugar cane. Now, one of the reasons is that they have a distillery, and they were saying that they needed in-zone cane, right? Now, when them said that, boy, it's such a pleasure to see the housing development and the sugar lab, the burning, and then say, boy, you know, so we're going to go over in-zone section and do the same thing. Now, presently, we're at the contracted part of the land, and it's growing sugar cane right there now. So when I asked if you want to come on, there's a agriculture show in the morning, farm talk, Alta Mackenzie. I never hear about it, but I like your comment because Blake, I'm a good friend. He's a JC man too. Was trying to get in touch with you, right? But I like it because some argument inside I want to see the legal, especially with their pre-last, right? But I'll show you something. You see, when there's a situation right now, I don't want to finish. They had some people who teach some goats from St. Thomas and going to St. Catherine. And them catch 5 young men with goat meat. And them lock up their arm, the 5 of them. And bail bond is 200,000 a piece. So $5 $1 million. When you the farmer go to court, the amount of fighting and wrangling they have to go through. And plus one is that pre-last have big money. So the clerk of court, he can get paid off by the man who thief. Even you're a lawyer. So we need somebody to talk on our behalf with the legal part of it. You understand it? Because we are the rank. You ever listen to farm talk yet? Alright, my name is Trulani on the program. I hear the person in Trulani. We have name Trulani, right? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Allow me to introduce myself to Mr. Alright, here I know. My name is Francis Anthony Tolo. That's supposed to ring a bell. Now go get back to it, but now go big up Lambert Brown first. A man to who now have to lift me at to. Lambert Brown been in politics from 1972. And Joel is just a born or no born yet. I got Papi in school. The Workers' Liberation League, WLL, was about to farm. Lambert Brown was one of the main man, Trevor man run, etc., etc. We as a youth, we distribute pamphlet and so a long time in night and Lambert Brown hit me 2 times because I tell you, I'm afraid of labor right like how rain. Water afraid of rain. And a joke business, I'm afraid of labor right like how water afraid of rain. When rain fall, water run here. No. So I'm afraid of it. Not enough. That's why I'm afraid of labor right. Them tried to send me to prison 2 times. And a Lambert down here, they get liar for me. Me innocent.
All time saying.
Got you some things to say. But I wait, not allow that now. You see the Register General, more exposed there. You see the same name Francis Dollar. When we check it out, I'm a family. I go for a birth certificate. Then give me the next Francis, the man named Francis Anthony Dollar, which my father, brother picked me. I mean, never know if he never did know all them things there. I have the evidence of teacher, we can show you. Because the evidence, the thing. Look at the 2 paper then. One forgets. Go down to the tax office. The date when we carry it in, but through the wrong birth certificate, we can't get no pension. Francis Dollar dead. Me alive. Them supposed to deal with dead and live. So the man, the dead one, people supposed to, what do you call it? No man. When they did them say the what? In the deceased part. Me supposed in the live part because you know dead yet. They pay for the birth certificate. Them call me 2 times ago there. Them are telling me I have to pay again. And from June, them have me up down the boy Mr. Lion. The man born 1942. Me born 1956. In fact, his father named Samuel Tolo, which is my father, brother. Me all poacher since a cousin, you know. Poacher come out and see him Tolo, you know. Me and poacher since the cousin are the same. Yeah, but me I go, I left that. The next thing I want to deal with now, you see that when you win, boss, you see down in the country there, the gold went down there, what we are going to do with it? Because the amount of gold with them, I evidence me I tell you about, you know, that down there with them. Yeah. So, do I find out about them gold, them mineral we are left, that foreign with them a rob. A serious thing I tell you about me in a bar. Them PNP people down there, man, them down there. $100,000 a month. You can't go there, go take the picture now, nothing. I see him farmer Brown. I him at the liaison officer. We are dealing with it. So I want to check it out. But the comrade now. You see from this Pat Snow and big up all Pat Snow too. You say, why you deep in your tie and broad your link with the consistency. Because we want to win. And what I think we want you use when you are deep in your tie is to start a domino tournament in Standpipe, because Standpipe people love domino. But every can, to somebody, this a corner that is up on turf and the comes and we are And then we are going to bring in the unity and anyway them have forced me to come out. So good mind we can sit up and bite and we can talk. So good night and long live Michael man. If it's a Michael man, the man, you know. So big up.
And the small farmers and how do we ensure that they benefit. And there's a general questions about how do we engage and include the senior citizens in the society. And the final question had to do with constitutional reform and our view on election of the senators. So I'm going to have the comrades take those questions, then we take another round of questions. Okay, who's going to go first?
All right, so on the issue of sports, Comrade Lorraine, as you know, I have tried to support with the netball. I will continue to support as I can. But most importantly, right, when I'm your member of parliament, for sure, when we come together with Standpipe, once we agree that netball and the sports day is something that we want, we will support it through our CDF. And we will use our resources to get additional support for these kinds of things. Because there's support out there that we can do, but we have to be purposeful and we have to agree that's what we want to do. And you know, I want to touch on the elderly issue as the spokesperson on social transformation and protection. In dealing with the elderly, I agree with you that we need to work on how we're going to financially empower our elderly so that they, you know, you're old but you're not cool. You still need to be able to participate, to be able to use your assets. So the idea of a reverse mortgage and how we really create that as a real offering in Jamaica in a way that the elderly can really take advantage of it in Jamaica. One institution does it now, but we need to put the framework around it so that it can be strengthened in that regard. And you know, I just want to also talk to the elderly coming out of Comrade Jones' comments. Yes, because it is true. And as I said, Jungle 12 said they wanted to look after their elderly. We have to put more into, and as a community, we have to choose how we're going to look after the elderly. It won't always be able to be out of the CDF, but if we get organized as a community, we can in fact make sure that our elderly are well taken care of, and you don't have old people living in decrepit conditions and less than dignified conditions. So we can fix that as a community. So I look forward to serving it like that.
Thank you. On the issue of corruption, first of all, I think the leadership has to set the right tone. We have a government that in the 9 years has been plagued by a litany of corrupt acts and incidents that have really been a blot on their record. And the Prime Minister really has no credibility around this issue to lead on it because his own Integrity Commission filings are not in good order and he can't get them certified. And he himself has been investigated for illicit enrichment, and there are 7 others apparently that the Commission is investigating. We have signed the Leadership Code of Conduct produced by the Integrity Commission. I was the first person to sign it, and all of our spokespersons and parliamentarians have signed that. And that is essentially committing to upholding the 7 principles of good governance which are embodied in that Leadership Code of Conduct. We will ensure that we don't interfere or intimidate or undermine the work of the Integrity Commission. We will ensure they have the resources to do their work, and we will look at the law on an ongoing basis to see what adjustments may be required so that it is a strong institution that operates fairly but fearlessly in the fight against corruption. I was the one who designed the Integrity Commission. I was the one who brought that legislation to Parliament when I was Minister of Justice. So in a sense, it's my baby, and it was taken afterwards. When we lost the election in 2016, it was eventually passed into law by this government. But they have spent the last couple of years giving it a hard fight because they don't like the fact that it's doing its work and that they're the ones who are really feeling the brunt of it because of the shenanigans that they go on with as a government. And it's as simple as that. The issue of ganja and marijuana. When we pioneered the reform to decriminalize personal use of ganja, which again was something that I led and piloted that legislation through Parliament. It was also envisaged that ganja would become a lawful industry for Jamaica, and the real reason for that was to empower small farmers who had led the charge in the fight against prohibition, because ganja had been illegal for a century and enough man had acquired a criminal record. There was a time, under Bustamante, when you had for the smallest quantity, even a seed, is prison. And if you're cultivating 5 years, Michael Mann got rid of those punishments, and then we much later decriminalized it. So you can't get a criminal record for personal use. You can't for a chalice or a spliff or up to 2 ounces of weed. And if you have got a past conviction for those things, there's automatic expungement of them once you apply for your criminal record. If that is on it, it is removed. So we did those things, but the small farmers, the laborers, have not applied the law in a proactive way to bring in smaller farmers into it. And part of that would have mean, of course, not charging high fees for licensing of their operations. In fact, we were committed to having no fees for the first acre of an application, because many farmers would fall within that and wouldn't have to bear that cost. But that was abandoned by this government. So we're going to have to look very closely at the whole regulatory framework and what the weaknesses in it are and how we can empower others to come into it. And I'm committed to that because it's something that I was really driving from day one. What else is there? Yes, on the corruption issue, I should also mention, in the 1990s, there was a constitutional commission established by P.J. Patterson, and they produced a report which went to Parliament. There was a joint select committee of Parliament that reviewed the report and produced a report of its own. And there were certain agreed things which should have driven constitutional reform, such as the Charter of Rights, which we, despite the 2/3 majority requirement, we were in opposition, but we voted for the Charter of Rights. That's why there is a Charter of Rights now. Because not because you're in opposition, you're going to block things that are good. And we were always in favor of the Charter of Rights. So the Charter of Rights passed because the PNP in opposition was prepared to let it pass. And it's now part of our law. Part of that constitutional reform was things to make people more accountable who hold power given to them by the people. They must be accountable for the way in which they use the power that the people have given them. And the procedure of impeachment was one where if you do some wrong things, you can be held accountable, you can be impeached by a process which is fair. Due process is important, but you can be held accountable. And when Bruce Golding was Prime Minister, he had brought an impeachment bill to Parliament, but they never really pursued it. They just left it alone, and they lost it, fell off the other paper. After the stool incident in Westmoreland, with an MP who was caught on camera beating up his woman with a stool in a car park, I said nothing can go so, and we have to. So I revisited that legislation, that impeachment legislation, and I am a person who knows about drafting and those things. I've done a lot of that in my life. I was minister, and I got some help as well, and we produced an updated version of the impeachment bill, and I brought it to Parliament as a private member's bill while in opposition. The Labourites have not let that go forward, even though they had originally committed to impeachment themselves. And when this Constitutional Reform Committee that Mrs. Malahou Ford, the minister, had established, they have said they're not proceeding with impeachment as part of the constitutional reform. So, we are not in favor of that. We are in favor of impeachment being part of it, and even recall. If a sufficient number of constituents are unhappy with the performance of their MP, they should be able to initiate a procedure to have that MP recalled, and they have to wait 5 years to get rid of an MP. This exists in other countries. So we are looking at ways of making our leaders more accountable to the people, so that the people can have better representation and get better performance out of their MPs. But the government has not shown any interest in anything that would make government more accountable to the people. Elected senators. Well, that's a very different system to what we have. Currently, the idea in our system is that not everybody wants to put forward themselves to represent and to be political and go out there and look votes and so on. And so the way our Senate is that the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition get to appoint persons. And on the whole, we have had high quality Senates as a result. The Senate, that they review legislation much more intensely than the members of the House of Representatives do. And they act as a kind of quality assurance for legislation as a result of the higher levels of rigor and scrutiny that they bring. And so there's some merit in that. But I think the problem is, and most legislation doesn't require a 2/3 majority. It is only legislation that seeks to amend the Constitution in certain ways that requires a 2/3 majority. And the founding fathers said the Constitution is so fundamental, you shouldn't be able to do that unless you have consensus amongst both sides in the Parliament. And I think there's merit to that. The problem is that we have to build through respectful dialogue and discussion. We have to build sufficient trust around the issue that we can agree to move forward with certain things. This government is not interested in consulting with the opposition on things. They think they can just ram it through. I don't know if you call that government badness or what, but they are just intent on moving through. It's their way or the highway. And nothing can go so. We have legitimate concerns and aspects of what is now in Parliament with that bill. We're not in favor of the method of appointing the president that they're proposing, which would effectively allow the Prime Minister to determine who the president is. I don't want that power when I'm Prime Minister. That is too much power for one person to have. We must have a situation where the president enjoys a consensus as being somebody who's independent-minded and of a high reputation and who can do that job at the highest level. So that's one of the issues we have with it. And of course, the CCJ is the other, because we are saying if you're going to finally take the step now, we're getting rid of the monarchy, we're going to be truly a sovereign nation. We can't have the King's Court as our final court, a court which is fundamentally inaccessible to our people. The cost of taking a case there is tens of millions of dollars. Nobody in this audience could afford to bring a case to the Privy Council. And so this is a serious issue for us. We have established the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice. It's been going for nearly 20 years. It's providing judgments of the highest quality. It is a very accessible court. It moves around the region. It will come to Jamaica to hear cases, as it did for Shanique Myrie when she got justice there. But right now, only Barbados, Guyana, Dominica, Belize, and St. Lucia are using it as a final court. Time come for Jamaica to join that court. So, on constitutional reforms, comrade, these issues, I think, are worthy of further thought and discussion. I'm not saying the idea of elected senators is wrong. I'm not saying I don't support it. I'm saying we need to talk it out and see what the implications are. Fixed term limits are another thing, where you can't have somebody being in Parliament or having a position in the top level indefinitely, but you have limits on that. There are other things, fixed election dates. There are lots of issues which need to be thought through. None of those issues are dealt with in this constitutional reform bill that they've brought to Parliament.
Hey, pleasant good night. Once again, so I get straight to the core of everything, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Golden. I know you have a lot of work by your table, and people, if you're on Instagram, you should follow Mr. Golden page, because one thing I like and I'm impressed about you attack everything head on, and you're very transparent, and I've been following you.
Big Belly Sky is a rhyme of TV. People, God bless you, man, don't support it. Big Belly Sky is the workers' champion. That you are good youth and God bless you, so support him. Hey, Sky Joe!
My name is Dwayne from the World Immortal Store, but I don't know. Rhyme Up TV, man, tell you about that TV station. Don't touch on the dial, you understand? World Store Love, Rhyme Up TV. Folks, angry.
I'm coming to the world. Google, not about Rhyme Up TV. It's a Rhyme Up, one of the real one them. That's why I need to stand up here, son. I do this. That's Rhyme Up, I'm real. I'm going to salute him. You hear that? Rhyme Up, pick up yourself, you know. Rhyme Up!
Yeah, man, you know the rebel girl Daniels there representing Rhyme Up. I love you.
Well, I don't know how I can marvelous to represent for DJ Rhyme Up. Rhyme Up.
Yes, them on there ain't no stress, then you don't know it. Sean Paul alongside the Rhyme Up. Tell some boy them time up. You don't know it go. Rhyme Up. Play music. Dirty.
Rhyme Up. I want to glue us a Rhyme Up. Because you're really talking. I am telling you.
Come here, talk on this Rhyme Up.